Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays, Kevin. I'm so excited to have you on this week. I know you are beloved in our industry. You're very well known. You're all over social media. I see you at conferences. You're participating in IMB, which we'll talk about later. But I'm so happy to have you on. I really appreciate your time and you being here today.
Thank you. This has been a bucket list for me. Be on the Wisdom Wednesday with Ashley.
I love it. I love that I can be a bucket list of somebody. That's fantastic.
It's
So
a great, it's a great set of content. It's brilliant. It's right in the middle of the week and it's on point. It's relevant. So thank you for doing it and happy to be on here.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Well, I would love if you could introduce yourself and kind of tell our listeners who you are and where you sit.
Sure. Name's Kevin Peranio. I'm the Chief Lending Officer and one of the four partners of an independent mortgage banker, PRMG, Paramount Residential Mortgage Group. Paul and Robert founded it 23 years ago, and I've been with the company 13. And just a Texan that moved to Florida and found a lovely bride and got married and had four kids. And here we are now in Orange County, California, just trying to grind through the seasonally slow time. But the good news is we are seeing activity pick up at our three-channel lender. We have wholesale, retail, and correspondent, and we're pretty excited and expecting no less than 20% growth in all three channels next year in 2024. So yeah, that's who we are, what we're all about.
Wow, that's fantastic. I know it's been a really tough stretch in the industry these last year and a half or so. And yeah, for you to say that there's some light at the end of the tunnel and you see some growth, I think that gives hope to a lot of lenders out there.
Well, you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, rates are coming down. So, you could see it happening in front of our eyes. And so it's a trend. Um, it's meaningful. It's not a refi boom, but it's certainly, when you went from 7 to 8% interest rates, 5 million borrowers were priced out of home affordability. Well, we're right now in just 45 days. We've gotten to the high 6% range. That 5 million borrowers are back in the fold. And so we just got to go, shake them loose and find them after New Year's and get them out looking for houses.
Well, I am hopefully one of those borrowers. I'm for a first-time home buyer myself, and I just recently moved from Virginia to Oregon. I'm born and raised in Oregon, so made the cross-country shift about 3 weeks ago now, I think, back home to family, and so we are kind of feeling a little unsettled a little bit right now, living with some family, but really looking to see kind of where we want to be and what the market is going to do. So I think we're going in the right direction. I would love to see them continue to come back down. So yeah, we'll just see. I've been looking at realtor.com and Zillow and all the different things and watching those little green markers kind of keep ticking down on the home prices. So if they can just keep on coming, that would make me happy.
You are a perfect case study in what all of our organizations that are part of the MBA, our entire ecosystem. So you better be careful if you haven't talked to a loan officer yet. If this video goes out, you're going to get about 100 calls
Oh
from different
gosh.
people.
I know. I'm gonna get just like a trigger. Is this a trigger lead? Can I have like 600 phone calls in the next the next
Oh,
48 hours?
I can just see it now. I really enjoyed your Wisdom Wednesday video with KP. By the way, do you have an originator you're working with? Yeah, get
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah.
Realtors and originators, go get her. She's ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no. Well, if you can find me the best deal, there you go.
There you go. There it is.
Oh, that's awesome. As you know, and just as kind of a reminder for all of the listeners on LinkedIn and Impact's YouTube channel, I work on the MBA's membership team as the associate director for member relations, but then I also manage the residential side of Impact, which is the Young Professionals Networking Group. And so a lot of these videos, I love to tailor it towards kind of the young professionals and really, and young professionals is such a broad term, I feel like, right? Like you can be a young professional fresh out of college, super green in the industry, and you can have certain areas that you're really interested in learning about. And then you can also be a young professional like myself, who has been in the industry for 10 years, 10 plus years. I have my AMP, I have my CMB, so it's not really like industry focused things that I necessarily am interested in learning about. It's a lot of the additional like professional development skills and really learning from mentors in the industry and being exposed to so many different facets of the industry that I'm just a sponge and I want to know like so much more about, really like digging my heels in this industry. I think that's the biggest reason why I got my CMB last year, was because I really wanted to like dig my heels in and dive into the industry and learn so much more about more than like just the operation side that I originally came from. And so that's kind of why I like to interview a lot of the people that I do, is because they and you are a breadth of knowledge. You have so much knowledge, so I want to kind of dive into like knowledge and having it tailored a little bit to like the young professionals. So I think my first question for you is, in your company or in your experience just in the industry, what is it about maybe the young professionals right now that you see either them most passionate about, or um like what are they really like interested in? Or
Well, you know that every single time you do this and you say what you just said, every one of us is going to make a comment and show our vulnerability. Because so what you're saying is I'm not young. So
I'm
I
so
know
sorry.
I know I'm 47. I own it. It's all good. I've been in the business 23 years, but you're gonna get that every time you do this, so you know. So be
Yes.
ready. You gotta have a good comeback. Um, and by the
A
way, I
day
mean,
over 35, Kevin. You don't look a
yeah.
day over 35.
Hey, you know what? Just wait till tomorrow after I dye my hair, so my color of my hair matches my energy. That's what it's all about.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting that the timing of the question. I just got back from our California Mortgage Bankers Association board retreat and board meeting, and in our organizations, we're a member of both the MBA and CAMBA, and I'm on the board of CMBA, and we had a future leaders program all year where we had three teams get together, and they presented to the board on Tuesday, like, here, you're given $20 million, go start this company. You've got Fannie, Freddie, and Ginnie, tickets. What's your business model? And it was real. I mean, they got into it. Financials, I had a session with them on tech and cybersecurity. Richie May got with them together on, financials, whatever. They do a bunch of stuff. And so it's interesting that, when I saw that, I could not be more proud of the young professionals and the future leaders of our industry. And so, what I saw in them, I'll just kind of, pass along to you to kind of answer some of these questions today. If you are inspired at the end of the day of helping put people in houses and being part of that journey, whatever part that is, that's got to be your North Star. That's got to be, your guiding light. Maybe it's a career to you that provides a means to an end, provide for your family. Like, hey, it got you back to Oregon to be around your family so you could buy a house. But and that's inspiring too. But it was really awesome to hear someone who's a branch manager, or someone who's operations, someone who's an MI rep. All these people come together and they're all inspired by that same thing, which is putting someone in a house, which is the American dream, right? Not to get super cheesy, but it's also the best way to create wealth. And so just, no matter what you go through, just make sure that you have some kind of North Star like that. And if you like learning, there's never a lack of learning. I mean, we're all learning every day as this mortgage, industry and real estate industry and banking industry, as it all evolves, the technology, the regulation, the landscape. I mean, who would have thought we'd be sitting here talking about $1 million conforming loan with Fannie and Freddie? I remember, in the height of an incredible boom in like 2006, I think it was 417,000. And
Yes.
so, so it's just there's, if you have a thirst for knowledge, there's never a lack. There's always upward mobility. Networking is super important. Stay engaged, make sure you put yourself out there. And even if you're not in sales and you're a young professional, um, don't be invisible. So sales, I think, gets a bad rap because we've all met kind of a bad, slimy salesperson. But sales in its purest form is just communication. And so even if you're just a lurker, make sure you're engaged. Make sure, you're watching LinkedIn. Make sure you're watching and reading the tea leaves. I love going to MBA.org. I love going to the newsroom drop down in the menu in the press room and just seeing what the MBA is working on and reading, what's going on in our industry from our premier national trade organization standpoint. So those are some things that I would say to young professionals, just as we browse through our Wednesday video over the holidays.
I love it. I think, well, first of all, thank you for mentioning just MBA's newsroom. I think there's so much incredible content on our news link that gets dropped daily. We have press releases and white papers, and so there's so many things and so many ways to learn about what's happening on the MBA level and what MBA's stance is on topics that you may be following really closely. So that's definitely an amazing resource to utilize in our industry. But the other thing that what really struck me about something you said is be visible. And I think it doesn't matter what role you have. I know salespeople are very visible because that's a really good way for them. They know how to get themselves out there. But if you're not in sales, like you said, if you're on the operations side, if you're a processor or an underwriter or a closer or somebody that works on the secondary marketing team, and you want to grow in your career and you want to level up, being visible and kind of earning the spot to get to that next level, just people seeing you and knowing who you are and knowing your work ethic and knowing what you're about, having that visibility is so crucial. And I think that's the piece that I really took to heart. I think one of my mentors told me that a really, really long time ago, to take all of the opportunities you can to get in front of the next level of management or 3 levels of management up or whatever that looks like. Get in front of your CEO, get in front of your EVP or whoever that looks like, or your C-suite team, and get to know them. It doesn't mean they're going to promote you tomorrow, but it means that they know who you are and what you're about, and you can show them your work ethic. And so I definitely think being visible out of everything you said is something that really, really struck me as very, very important in this industry.
I love the advice you got about, talking to, let the founder of your company know you exist and what you do. I mean, our organization, we have a very flat architecture. I mean, our 2 founders are in it every day. I mean, every day, and they're fully engaged. And so we're pretty flat. And I personally put out bomb videos internally to our company about once a week, so going out to about 1,700 people. And people reply back to it, and I chat back and forth with them. I encourage people to talk. And so I agree. I mean, upward mobility for a career is such a great industry, especially when, business starts to pick up. You just start to see a lot of growth opportunities all over. But yeah, to your point, I mean, even if you're not in sales, if you want a promotion, you still are kind of selling yourself. And so you would be shocked, by the way, how many salespeople, it's their job to sell, aren't even on social media. I mean, at all, like completely invisible. And I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm going to guess, under 35, since you set the bar there with the young professionals group. But where your eyeballs are at, you would be shocked how many salespeople don't put themselves visibly in the spot where you're looking and you're literally saying you're going to go buy a house right now. And so you're in the house hunting mode. So, yeah, I mean, being invisible as a salesperson is like a way to go extinct. And so people are on YouTube, they're on obviously TikTok, people are on Etsy, they're all over. And we have people that simply don't even want to be on video at all. They're like deathly afraid of it, which I get that. It's kind of like public speaking, some people, look at it that way, but gosh, get over yourself. I mean, you don't live in a cave, you get out and let the world see you. So what's the difference of just flipping the camera around real quick and just, hey, it's KP, the conforming limits are over $1 million right now. Give me a call. I want to help serve your family. I'm not too busy. Boom. That's it. Literally just that easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think and it's something that I've had to get over too, just doing these videos and doing some online or social media work just in the last like few months too. I was sitting at home and had my ring light set up, and I did like 13 takes on my first video, and I would go back through the bloopers, and I found it hysterical like going through it. I'm just like, this is great, like this is like great content. And now I try and do it in one and done, like a one and done episode, because honestly, and I've heard this from so many people too, but I've really taken it to heart, like just it's you showing your authentic self, and that's what people are going to relate
That's
to,
it.
and and grow your relationships with. I don't want to be fake on camera because that's not how I am in person. And so doing like a one shot take of, oh, dang it, I'm going to mess up, or I fumble over my words, or whatever it is. Like, it's just, it is who I am. Sorry I messed up. Like, this is just kind of how it is. And so when you're starting on social media or trying to put yourself out there or being visible, like, I know there's so many people who have said this too, but I'll say it again. It's like, don't be afraid to mess up, or don't be afraid to fail, or don't be afraid to just put yourself out there, because nobody is perfect, and more people will relate to you if you're authentically you and you mess up than you being like a perfectly robot like on a video. Like, that's just not who anybody is in person. So
Uh,
that's how I've
agree,
kind of gone.
agreed. I mean, and I have this saying, transparency is the new currency. Authenticity is the new currency. I mean, people want to transact and work and be around others that they understand who they are because they're transparent and authentic. Um, and I'll give the NBA a ton of credit. I mean, between you, Jordan, Ashley, Dawn, Marina, Laura, you guys have taken the video content and the social media outreach to that authentic level. But you guys have brought kind of a warmer, authentic feeling to NBA social media. And so yeah, I mean, you guys have changed the perception of NBA for the better. Not that it was bad, it's just better. And
Yeah,
so I agree. Yeah,
thank you.
being transparent, authentic is huge.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely think there's a time and a place for the like very professional newsroom updates, or when somebody goes in and does a really professional video or something serious that we can talk about. But from my standpoint, especially with my team and where we sit with our members and building that relationship with our members, and I mean, I manage a portfolio the lenders that are members with MBA, and we do videos to them just in an email, and we are trying to get better about like sending a little message saying, hey, KP, just checking in, this is Ashley, this is your account rep, like just making sure you're all good, and if there's anything you need, please let me know. Or did you see the latest home equity lending survey that just came out? We're trying to get a bunch of home equity lenders to participate in our home equity lending survey. So just little things like that, of just something different than an email too, I think is really going a long way. And that's what I've been trying to do with some of my LinkedIn posts, is just hop on and do some sort of video with closed captioning or with something, because a lot of people are leave it on mute. So just changing it up a little bit, trying to see where we can go. But yeah, I
I love
appreciate
it.
the feedback. That's awesome.
Well, and just to add one more thing to it, I mean, you got to be, consistent with it, right? And so if we're telling people, to be more visible, and potentially even get out on social media, you have to be consistent. I mean, you've kind of like put it on yourself. You're like, it's Wisdom Wednesday, so like you got to get something done for Wednesday, right? So like you at least are being consistent, once a week, and because you have to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you and I go on, we go on Instagram, we take a look, there's the little bubbles that show up at the top. Those are typically the bubbles that, have the most recent content or that we react with the most. And so for me, like it's my wife, like every time she puts a video, like it's the first one that shows up because I react with that one the most. If I'm away, she's posting videos of what our kids are up to, what's going on. And it's the first one I look at. So if you're not consistent with your post, then you lose engagement,
Yeah.
and then you become less visible. And
Yeah.
so that's just how social media works. Just how the algorithms, boost you up. And so, being consistent is the hard part. I love using, we have our originators that use like social coach or something like that. They're out there using these different apps that help you like post content ahead of time. And so you can kind of schedule. So, I missed today to post because, I ran around with 4 kids and there's a lot going on, but I pre-scheduled ahead of time. Here we are on a Friday, whoops, secret's out, and we're recording, and you're getting out in front of it and you're getting it ready to be produced and done on Wednesday. I mean, that's the consistency it takes, that kind of like just like a smidge of effort, right? To make it,
Yeah.
show up. And then you just keep gathering this audience. And so, that's being consistent isn't just about how you do your job and what you do in life and how you create behaviors and patterns, but also in social media.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I haven't used that tool yet. But I feel like that is a good tool. But I have noticed that I set a big goal for myself, like at the very beginning of starting these Wisdom Wednesday videos. And I do feel like that title alone holds me accountable to posting something every Wednesday. And so I had a goal for myself to do it for at least a year. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's 52 videos. Like, holy cow. So I'm making sure that I have enough content and enough people, and trying to reach out to as many people as I can who'd be interested in doing any of these. So if you're watching and you're interested in being on a Wisdom Wednesday video, I would love to have you.
That's
But
great.
yeah, it really does hold me accountable. So that's been good. It's been really good, because there are some times where I've wanted to give up or be like, oh my gosh, like this is, because it does take a little bit of work, and putting the effort in, but ultimately the reward is what keeps me going. That's what motivates me to keep me going, is getting this content out and getting and highlighting the people that I'm interviewing, and I love having these conversations too. So every time I do a conversation, it always makes me really hyped up for the rest of the day. Just like whenever I'm at a conference and I have a really good conversation with a member or one of my friends or I always call it a family reunion, because I love our industry and I love seeing people at conferences. And so it's the same thing with these videos. So I'll keep
Yeah.
going.
Well, now that you're in Oregon, your day's not even half over. Where if you were back in DC
Exactly.
or wherever, you'd be just launching straight into happy hour somewhere.
Exactly. Exactly. I love it. There's one last thing that I just kind of wanted to talk about your session real quick at IMB. I want to kind of highlight IMB. I know you're a huge proponent of the Independent Mortgage Bankers Conference. I know it's coming up January 22nd through the 24th in New Orleans. Can you highlight a little bit what your specific session on social is?
Yeah, we're running back a social selling, power of social media, how it impacts our businesses and originations panel that we did at the MBA's Independent Mortgage Bankers Show. So the IMB show. It's a great show. We did it earlier this year in Coronado, at the Del Coronado in San Diego, and this coming January next month we'll be in New Orleans. And so we'll have Greg Scher and I from NFN Lending. We're on the panel last year with Garth Graham, and then this year we have Ashley from your team on there, and Ali Carty from Active Comply, and so she'll be on there with us, and it'll be a great panel. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a packed room earlier this year when we did it. It's the first session of the networking sessions on the second day on Tuesday. So I believe it's at like right after lunch, maybe 1:30, I believe, Central Time in New Orleans. It's going to be great. It's a great session, good panel. We just had a call this morning, going over it. We're all pretty fired up. Um,
Yeah.
I was festive for
I
that as
love
well.
it.
So yeah, just tag team in the NBA here. Going back to back, trying to help promote our organization and everything that the NBA does. If you're not a member, I mean, gosh, you gotta join as an IMB.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful lobby. I mean, it is the most powerful lobby on behalf of us in DC for sure.
Mhm.
And there's a lot getting done. We got an election year next year, and then whatever happens after that, whatever turnover there is, lobbying efforts are super important. A year from now, we'll be talking about whatever the new face of Congress looks like.
Yeah.
And so that's important for our business. So looking forward to driving membership and starting off the year on the right foot there in January in New Orleans.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for your session. I think that'll be incredibly important, just for, I mean, everything that we've talked about on this call already. There's a couple other sessions that I would love to highlight. The data-driven decisioning session. That one's by Marina Walsh. There's a repurchase strategy session that's going to be incredibly important.
That's a
Uh,
2 hour session, the repurchase one.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and Marina's great. I love. I mean, I could just sit there and watch Mike and Joel and Marina talk all day. So, such a great economic team.
So incredibly smart. Yeah, so that's awesome. If anybody watching has any questions or wants more information about IMB, definitely reach out to me. But Kevin, thank you so much for being on and being such a proponent of MBA. I really appreciate all of the support. I can't wait to see you in New Orleans, and I really appreciate you being on Wisdom Wednesday. This has been really fun.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Ashley.